QToday.
Hello and welcome to QToday. I'm Alison Duddy.
And I'm Ron Campbell, and this is our show for April the 9th, and it's nice to be back with you, Alison.
Good to have you back, Ron. It's been a little while.
It has. I understand you've been out gallivanting around, putting Quesnel on the map again with all of your curling expertise.
We were.
Well, I'm a little upset, you know, because everybody else on the crew has got to see your medal, but I haven't.
Oh, well, I'll bring it out later.
Okay.
We'll show it again in sports, and I've got some pictures to show too. So
thanks.
we'll do that in
I'll
sports. I
appreciate
like the
that.
green, by the way. Very nice.
Good, thank you.
All right, our top stories from the Observer. Our Quesnel releases the final draft of the affordable housing strategy, and a local vet receives the Diamond Jubilee Medal.
And coming up later in the show, Nate is in conversation with Bert deVink, and a public service announcement is coming from Susan MacNeill.
Good stuff. All right, here at QToday, we bring you the recent news from the Quesnel Caribou Observer, and we also will bring you our own stories from the community. Now let's get right to the news here with my partner, Ron.
Alison, just before we start, there is some breaking news. Margaret Thatcher, who was 87 years old and was known as the Iron Lady, she passed away today. And some people in the know said that she is one of the best peacetime prime ministers Britain has ever had. So it's sad to see a lady of her stature gone. There'll be a lot on the news, I'm sure, about her.
Oh, I'm sure.
And also, it's raining money from heaven. There's a vote coming up, I think, in May. We had ministers from the BC government handing out money left, right, and center. $75,000 here, $5,000 there, and $25,000 over there. So it's kind of nice that all this money shows up just before we have to elect.
Of course.
Anyhow, that's basically some of the new things that have just happened.
Mm-hmm.
And going on to the real local news, the city's affordable housing report is complete and ready, and it's ready for public comment. The report comes out of the sustainability plan that the city is putting together, focusing on the future of Quesnel. They're trying to try and cover about 30 years of housing things and so forth. Housing and land use is one of the 10 strategy areas. The goal of the strategy is to realize a diverse range of safe, attractive, and affordable housing options. Specifically over the next 3 years, the priorities are: 1, improve the quality of emergency housing; 2, provide more supportive housing options for those who can't live independently; and 3, provide more low-cost and attractive market housing options for independent seniors and single-income households. Council will be officially presenting this at next week's meeting. I think it might be tonight or the one after. To view and comment on the final draft of the affordable housing strategy, visit www.ourquesnel-in.com.
Great. Thanks, Ron. All right, the Legion Hall was packed to capacity last week at the monthly Veterans Luncheon to witness local veteran Tom Moffat as he was awarded the Queen Elizabeth II Diamond Jubilee Medal by federal MP Dick Harris. Harris spoke of Moffat's many accomplishments both during the Second World War as a member of the Royal Canadian Air Force Lancaster Bomber Squadron and his many volunteer accomplishments in his hometown of Quesnel. Now, along with serving several community organizations, including the Legion, Moffat also created a lasting photo tribute to those fellow servicemen who gave their lives in the service of Canada, many of which were Moffat's close personal friends. Now, in his acceptance speech, Moffat was his customary humble self, if you know him, Ron, accepting the award on behalf of his fellow servicemen. He also took the time to credit the great work of the Salvation Army, both during the war and in peacetime. Moffat said, "They were always there for us. Most of my letters home were on Salvation Army stationery."
You know, Alison, that is one of the more deserving people of that medal. I should have...
Very much so.
I think so. I think he's a wonderful man, and it's a great asset to the Quesnel area.
He's recently just turned 90, too. Good for him. And he comes down to the curling rink and still curls every now and then. Very nice.
That's excellent. I hope I'm as agile at that time.
No kidding. I hope I'm still around at that time.
We have a couple of events that are coming up that we'd like to tell our viewing audience about. First, the Quesnel Film Club's final presentation, The Sapphires, plays at the Theatre on April the 11th at 6:30 p.m. A special presentation at the 2012 Toronto Film Festival, The Sapphires, was a wildly entertaining musical comedy. Tickets are $9 for regular admission and $7 for seniors, with film club membership included. For information, call 250-747-7422 or 250-747-3979. Join Quesnel Film Club on Facebook or visit www.quesnelfilmclub.ca. Coming up on April the 12th, the final show in Quesnel Live Arts winter season is Trio Hochelaga at Lakeview Church, and it's at 2244 Ash Avenue. This group is composed of founder, violinist Ann Robert, soloist Carol Sarosis, and pianist Marie Fabi. Trio Hochelaga has earned a stellar reputation both in Canada and internationally. Tickets for this show are $25 and are available at the following outlets: Bo Peep, Boutique, Quesnel Music, Save On Foods, Attitude South Salon, and At the Door. I think it sounds like it'll be an excellent thing to do.
It does. It sounds very interesting. All right, well, Bill Carter and the Quesnel chapter of the Spinal Cord Society will be holding their walk and wheel event on Saturday, May the 4th at 10 a.m. at Seal Tingley Park. I know Bill personally. He submitted a letter to the Observer in which he spoke of the attitude of spinal injured people. He said, should they quit doing sports and other activities? Absolutely not. They should, however, be encouraged to get involved at realizing curing this problem is more important. Now, Bill also spoke of the Spinal Cord Society, which was started in 1978 when the thought of a cure was laughed at. He continued on, a lot has been done, however, and the cure movement is getting more encouraged as the University of Alberta has become interested once again, as well as the University of Minnesota. Both institutions want more trials done with animal studies to see if the procedures are safe to apply to human patients. Now, Bill also took the time to thank businesses, employees of business, the general public, and all that have given this cause their interest. He said, a simple thank you just seems inadequate. The real thanks will be when human trials will be upon us and people will see the fruits of their labor. Now, the Walk and Wheel is the only fundraiser of the year, so Bill would encourage those willing to take out a pledge sheet with the hope that you will be sponsored to do the Riverfront Trail, or just come out and show your support on May the 4th at 10 a.m. Seal Tingley Park and walk along or wheel along with the rest of us. If you have any questions, give Bill a call at 250-992-5996 or 250-992-1505.
Are you participating, Alison?
I do every year, but I'm going to have to check out my scheduling this year because I actually have a wedding to go to on that day, so I'm hoping I can do the wheel in the morning and the wedding in the afternoon.
Well, in front of all of our viewers out there, I would sponsor you if you're in there.
Oh, cool.
Because I'm not going to walk it.
Oh, come on.
Well, now we're going to move into sports, because you did mention sports there. In the Caribou, the Caribou United under 15 girls broke the ice with authority recently, while the under 13 Caribou United found their initial tournament a bit harder than expected. The under 15 United beat teams from across BC in the under 15 to 16 division of the Kelowna Icebreaker tournament, taking gold in their first tournament of the year. Coach Gilbert Chotel said that the under 15 girls played phenomenally well, hence the gold medal. The under 13 girls faced some problems in their first steps in a new field size. Under 12 teams play 8 versus 8, while the under 15 teams play 11 versus 11. Chotel also coached the under 13 team and said, all in all, these girls played very well. All the other teams had experience playing 11 on 11. Both the under 15 and under 13 teams featured girls from around the Caribou: Williams Lake, Prince George, Quesnel, and 100 Mile House, with a strong contingent coming from Quesnel. And that's about soccer.
Thank you, Ron. As I mentioned at the top of the show, I might have some pictures for nationals, and I brought my medal to show you,
okay,
so you didn't feel left out.
Oh, very nice. Well done.
Thank you.
Holy smokes, that's kind of heavy though. I'm glad I didn't win it. I couldn't carry it around.
Well, it's real silver, don't you know?
Well, yes, definitely.
All right. Well, thanks
Well
for
done,
that.
Alison.
So, yeah, we've got some pictures of, I believe they're all team pictures, and that's Skip Gary Cormack from Langley, and our third, Frank LaBounty from Prince George. Vince Miele is from Richmond. He's our second. And our spare was Samantha Sue, and she's also from Richmond. And I believe Coach Karen Watson is hanging out in those pictures with us as well. So
it looks like sort of like a maple leaf that's on some of the sweaters. What are they?
It's a heart crest, and it's, it's like a national championship crest. Some of us have just one. Some people take them off their old coats and stack them so that they've got 2 or 3 or down the sleeves.
I understand you have 4.
I have 4 national jackets now, but I don't want to wreck my old jackets to make my new one look nicer. So I want to keep them all and have them all.
I just sit here next to you in awe.
Oh, well, thank you, Ron. It was a really fun experience. We got to do some sightseeing and check out the Parliament buildings, and we went to the National War Museum and the National Art Gallery.
When did you find time to curl?
You know, we didn't think we would have so much time to get around, but there was a couple of days where there was just morning games, so we had our whole afternoon free to go and check out some of the sites.
Well, well done, Alison.
Thank you.
We're really proud of you.
I really appreciate it, Ron. Thank you very much.
As I mentioned earlier, Susan MacNeill, let's check this public service announcement from her, and we'll go to that now.
Hello, Quesnel. My name is Susan MacNeill, and I'm the health promoter for Quit Now Services in the North. I work with the BC Lung Association to help folks become tobacco-free. Right now, we're offering a contest called Tobacco Free Tuesdays, and what that enables folks to do is have a trial period of 24 hours, smoke-free, tobacco-free, and your name will go in a draw barrel to win one of 5 fabulous prizes that the BC Lung Association is offering. So, in order to get into this contest, you need to be quit smoking on the Monday night at 11:59 p.m. before the first Tuesday of every month. We welcome everybody in British Columbia to come and join us. Hopefully this will give you your first try at being smoke-free. Thanks, Quesnel.
So, Ron, do you think that animals get the respect that they deserve? Oh boy, should I have asked that?
I'm a little leery on where this is going.
Well, they're creatures.
I'm not sure what you mean.
They're creatures like humans, but are we superior?
Well, if you talk to my dog, I certainly not, no.
I thought it was cats.
No.
Cats are more the rulers, and dogs are pretty wanting to please, aren't they?
I think my dog has a university degree from several different schools, because he certainly has me out.
He's schooling you instead of you schooling him?
Let me tell you.
All right, well, Bert deVink definitely has some opinions on this, so let's view Nate in conversation with Bert deVink.
Thanks a lot, guys. Hi, Bert, how are you?
I'm great.
Look, Bert.
I see that.
QToday.
QToday.
Or Quesnel Golf Course. So thanks to Ken Reed, he gave me this hat. And he said, okay, you could have a Quesnel Golf Course hat, but you know, if you want to put it on during your show.
Cool.
So I have done so.
You're going to wear that during the show?
I already have. Now I can put it down. But
Okay.
I will be wearing it on the links. So see you on the links, Bert.
Okay, see you on the link.
Okay, but today we're going to talk about something completely different.
Different.
And now for something completely different. Animals.
Right.
You know, Bert, animals and I have a love-hate relationship. And I understand that you have a fairly deep relationship with animals.
I do, actually, yes.
Yeah, and seriously. And so I thought maybe we could talk about it a little bit, because I've always had a guilt feeling because I don't love animals as much as maybe I should. But, you know, some people like animals, some people don't. But let's start off.
Okay.
And let's talk about a few of our experiences.
Okay.
Okay, because I know you've had some really interesting experiences with animals.
I do, yeah. It started very young with me. I don't know why. I don't know the psychological reasons why I am attracted to animals, and vice versa. But I am, and it started when at one time Actually, let's put it this way. It did get me into trouble a couple of times because I saw a couple of kids blowing up frogs. They put a straw in their rear end and the poor animal.
This when you were a kid
Yeah, I
at
was
the time?
about 8 or 9 years
Yeah,
old.
right.
And there were 3 guys in class higher than me, and I lost it. I attacked, and apparently I was like a Wolverine or something like that. But I lost it totally. And
you attacked the kids because they were
yeah,
attacking
yeah,
the
that was so
defenseless
cruel.
frogs.
Yeah, you know, I've always been petting animals. I was caught one time on a school trip, for instance. We went on a school trip. There was just after the war, and there was a Russian wolf in a cage. Oh, that was awful. It was maybe 10 by 8.
A Russian wolf.
A Russian wolf, yeah. Well, during the war, there was no animals that were eaten, you know. So
During the war, when we talked about this before, you were brought up during the war in the Netherlands, and you didn't see, there were no pets around because they were just
no
too
pets
valuable as food.
No mice and no rats. They were all eaten.
Wow. Yeah. That's
Anyway, so
yeah.
there was this Russian wolf, and the class went on, and I climbed over a little barricade, this sort of little fence, and there was a gravel path, and I was in there, and I stuck my hand through the bars, and I was petting this wolf.
Wow.
Yeah.
You were.
Yeah, I was.
Wow. And you had no, did you know it was a wolf, or you
Oh
figured
yeah,
it was
I knew
a dog?
it was a wolf.
No, you knew it. And
But
you
I just felt, you know, I felt so sad for the animal for being there by himself. It's a social animal, and it was there by himself in this little concrete cage with big bars. God, you know, how cruel can you get?
And how old were you at this time, Bert?
Oh, that was just after the war, so I must have been 13 or so.
And you had no fear?
No. No, and animals feel that, I think. You know, like, I mean, if you look at some of the wild shows, wildlife shows, you'll see that some people can walk between bears and they're fine.
You know, that's an interesting thing about bears. We used to live in Owikino Village, Owikino Village, as it's now called. It's on the coast.
Yeah.
And just last year, a friend of ours was mauled by a bear.
Oh, yeah.
But before that time, he had considered himself the guardian of the village because he helped to get rid of some bears, but he also kind of felt like he had in tune with them. And then we visited him in the hospital, and he said, this is last year, and now he's almost all mended, you know, he still have problems, but he's almost all mended. He said, it doesn't matter, we live with them, we share the earth with them. Neither them or us have the upper hand. You know, it's more like live together.
That's exactly what I believe too. Exactly that.
You know, it's interesting how you have that feeling. When I was young, I remember my mother shaking the thing, what do you call those things, tailor tots?
Yeah.
They call them tailor tots, and I don't know what they call them now. Anyway, tailor tots, when a dog would come.
Yeah.
And I was petrified of dogs until I was a teenager.
Is that right?
That's right. I really didn't like it. There was a poodle down the street that I used to go around the way to not be around.
Wow.
Because, Bert, answer me this question as an animal lover, or why do dogs bark at you? Why do they show aggression toward you? I never could understand that.
Because you show fear. If you don't fear an animal and you go out there, like some people, I don't know, I've never tried it myself, but they say that they can stand off a bear by just talking to it and say, hey, you're not going to do that kind of a thing. And that power, animals are, as far as I know, animals are very sensitive. And they have a lot of things, like our dog, for instance, when I go out and I go to Cottonwood where I jam, and I can take the dog with me, right? And when I leave, whether it be 11:15 or 2 o'clock, 20 minutes it takes to get to the house. When I leave, that dog goes to the door and waits.
Wow.
Now, how the hell does he know that?
Wow, really?
Yeah, you know, but you know, I think if you really look at mammals, including man, I think man is an animal too, right? We are all the same, right? We have the same rib cage, the same digestive system mammals have, you know. But what a dog can do, for instance, he can pick up 40 different smells on a pot of soup on the stove. You know, and now look at us, you know, here we are needing mortgages to live in a place where we can stay and keep warm. A dog carries his house with him.
Right.
You know?
So
they developed very differently, but it doesn't mean to say that they're inferior. I think a dog is very intelligent and very sensitive of your mood. If I feel sick, my dog is worried, very worried. I notice it in his behavior.
Wow.
Yeah.
So people, in your estimation then, people have to realize the intense complexity that an animal has. They are not just simple servants of man.
No, they are not. Absolutely not. Well, there's an experiment I have done, Nate, and that is with crows.
Right.
And that is done here in the States and in Japan. And what they did is, a crow is capable of fashioning a tool to get at a certain type of food, right?
Right.
And it bites it off and it cleans it off and it uses it in its beak to get what it wants.
Right, right.
What they did was they put that tool out of reach, but they put a little stick somewhere else and let the crow see what he did. And what he did was he picked up that stick. With that stick he picked up the tool, and with the tool he caught his food.
So an animal that uses tools.
Yeah, and
not only chimpanzees, but like even a bird.
Yeah.
Especially crows, eh? That's
a crow, and what they also found is that crows are the closest to the human behavior pattern. They mate for life, they mourn their dead.
Mourn their dead, yeah.
Yeah. It was quite, there was a crow, well, when there's a stoplight at a certain place where they were filming, there was a stoplight, and the crows pick up little crabs, and they drop them.
Pick up what?
Crabs.
Okay.
You know, the little...
Yeah.
And they drop it from a certain height, depending on the size of the crab. And they do it when the light is red. Stoplight is red. And when it is green, they're gone.
Wow.
But one crow misjudged and was killed, and so all those crows are sitting on a row, deadly quiet, not moving, just 12, 15 crows sitting there watching this dead crow for a couple of minutes, and then as by command they all flew away. Chimpanzees mourn their dead. There's movies made of chimpanzees babies that the mother had, the baby died, and the mother carried it around for 1 or 2 days and was really distressed.
Right.
And then went in the forest and came back without it. So there is a mourning process. And so an animal is a lot closer to us in so many ways that I don't know sometimes why we put such a distance between us. Because all they done is evolve differently, right?
Just differently, not less. Not less.
Yeah.
Do you think that's why we have pets? Because some people realize the connection more than others?
Sure, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And people get attached to it, and it is nice to be attached to something that can, that reacts differently, that is more direct. Like an animal doesn't lie.
It doesn't have any of that, deceit?
If it feels guilty, it shows it's really feeling guilty if it does something
so it
wrong.
Hide, it's not okay.
But it doesn't hide its feelings or its emotions, never.
Okay. So there is a certain curiosity, I think, when you have an animal, that to be able to watch it and wonder about it, eh?
I guess so.
Yeah. So
I guess so.
you live out Barkerville Highway,
Yeah.
and I understand that basically you and your dog have a little special trail that you.
Yeah, yeah. We walk with the dog and the cat.
Mm-hmm.
The dog and the cat, we all walk around this trail every morning, and it's a ritual. The cat plays tricks on the dog and vice versa. There was one funny incident. There was a tree that was cut off and the bark had come loose. It had been, you know, sitting there for a while. And the cat made a show and climbed up, was hanging there. But the bark kept coming off just as the dog was running underneath. And the cat jumped right underneath it. Jumped off for a good 40 feet, ran on. The cat was sitting on the stand on our poodle and running down the trail. It's hilarious.
And those little things, eh?
Yeah. And
they
you
give
know,
a lot to humans, don't they?
Yeah.
They do.
Well, animals between, you know, I've seen a lot, I don't know, the TV program Oasis.
Uh-huh.
There's friendships between a donkey and a sheep.
Right.
No, an elephant and a sheep.
Wow. Yeah, I've seen these pictures, yeah.
Yeah, and there's this famous picture of a polar bear that had struck up a friendship with an Eskimo dog.
Mm-hmm.
And they played, and whenever it comes back on the rounds, it comes and plays with this dog that's on the chain. And normally they eat them.
Yeah.
So
somehow
friendship between animals is
very powerful.
Well, one is I lived in Haney, and we had a collie, a goat, a chicken, and a cat. And we went walking, and all four of them went with us. And the dog took care that no other dogs would do the chicken or the cat any harm. The collie protected him.
Yeah.
And the goat helped him because he would go down and yeah, it was really funny. So what I'm saying, friendship between animals are capable, and why are we not a little bit more understanding towards them? Because I think they can teach us a lot.
So would that be your parting message to our viewers?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Well, thanks very much, Bert, for sharing your wisdom with us today.
Thank you.
Okay. Back to you guys.
Now let's check out what's happening locally with our community calendar.
QToday. QToday. QToday.
All right, as always, thanks to the Quesnel Lions Club for helping to make our show possible. Their next garage sale is Saturday, April the 28th from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Maple Park Mall. And as you know, Ron, all the proceeds stay right here in our community and go to those in need. And remember, you can watch us anytime on the web at qcatv.ca or check us out on Facebook. Big Q, Big T, all one word.
Well, that's it for this show. We want to hear from you with your story and your comments on our show. Whatever you think is important, we think is important too. So please email us at qtoday@qcatv.ca with your story, or ask us to cover the story you know the community would just love to know more about.
All right, and as we leave you today, here's some great music from Christine Allen's collection. This one is called Mesh and Moon Circus, Parade of Lost Souls. Enjoy. And remember,
QToday is about
Quesnel talking to Quesnel. Bye for now.
take care.